Okay, guys, it's still here at the convention center. I'm waiting for the next session to start at 5 o'clock. On Saturday, April 18th, I went to 8 different lectures, okay? I'm not going to summarize all of them because pretty much 1 or 2 of them are just not worth summarizing. All right, but I do have some. This is participant video number 6. All right. It was called 21st Century Learning, State History, and Art. Right up our alley, right, Rachel and Amanda? Yeah, awesome. These ladies were from Oklahoma, I believe. Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska. It was a computer teacher and art teacher collaborating, okay? And they said, our teachers need to really build relationships with their computer teachers because you can do wonderful things together. They had a unique situation in that the art teacher was at 1 elementary school, but the computer teacher was at 2 elementary schools, and one of the elementary schools had no art teacher. So they want you to ask yourself, what job will you do? Or not ask yourself, ask your kids, what job will you do when you grow up that you won't need to use a computer? Because the one lady was saying, my mom's a greeter at Walmart, and she even needs to use a computer. Now, I'm sure there are jobs that you won't need to use it, but kids are going to have to be computer savvy to compete. So the more time they can get, the better. And their district was unique in that there were 10 languages spoken in the district, tons of ESL learners, and on average, I don't know how they figured this out, but the average ESL learner was about 25,000 words in the hole when they got to Nebraska for whatever reason. So they really needed to push the writing and the speaking in art and computer classes. Okay. You must work with colleagues to ensure that vocabulary and ideas move from short-term learning to long-term meaning. As a specials teacher, I'm in the same boat with them. I see my kids once a week, some of them only 30 minutes a week. How can I ensure that what I teach them moves from short term, front of the brain, to locked away in the back? Very hard to do without collaborating with your homeroom teachers or your other special teachers to make sure you're pounding this same vocabulary or similar vocabulary or even STEM words home so the kids can make these connections, and you're not starting from scratch and reinventing the wheel every time, but you're reinforcing similar things so this does start to move into the long-term memory. Okay, the unit that the art teacher was doing, they were going to paint landscapes, okay? So the computer person, she had the kids research state landscapes. The product was WordPress, which allows website and responses in the website. I'm not sure if it's a network thing or not. So all presentations were online. There was written research where the kids had to find and locate 3 landmarks and then print them out on a color printer, and then visual research. Oh, that was the visual research. Okay, to inspire their landscape painting. Then they photoed artwork and put up on web, and they had to write about it. Okay, the class. A technique they found was all the kids do thumbnail sketches, and then the class walks around and votes which is the best thumbnail sketch from each student. I guess that's good peer pressure to get thumbnails done, but depending upon the affective or the emotional attachment to a certain drawing that may not get voted, I'm not sure if I'm totally in love with that idea. Every piece of art needs to be framed. Every piece of work needs to be titled. Another way of just sliding in that vocabulary, sliding in those English standards. Title your artwork. And some of the titles are extremely creative and wonderful. Okay, that was a good one. I'm going to skip ahead to my next participant one, which wasn't chronological, but it was 10 easy ways to kill your art program. These presenters were wonderful. They were from North Carolina. They were named Dean Jollins and Cheryl Maney. Okay. Number 10. Don't tell anyone what you're teaching and what the impact is on your students. Okay, you get the gist. It's kind of like negative language. It's an easy way to kill your art program. Don't tell anybody about what you're doing. All right. What you want to do is list your standards next to the exhibit. All right. And be knowledgeable about your curriculum, your standards, your student expectations. You want to communicate about student progress with parents, and figure out why is it important for students to learn art. Okay, number nine reason, and these aren't in any kind of order of importance, they said, it's just the way it panned out, to kill your art classroom. Don't be visible or exhibit in your school or community, okay? Got to put it up there. You need to have visible and exhibitable work. Garbage in, garbage out, okay? Number 8, don't give direction and allow for choice, limited choice, okay? Plan lessons that will challenge students but are still differentiated to meet students' learning needs, which is, I know, easier said than done. Too often we give children answers to remember rather than problems to solve, okay? Or we give them too many choices, so really there's no choice at all, okay? Number 7, don't set high expectations, okay? When you appeal to the highest level of thinking, you get the highest level of performance. Number 6, don't publicize student achievement. Or why the arts contribute to that achievement, okay? Don't promote activities in your classroom that offer student success, okay? Spectacular achievement is always preceded by unspectacular preparation. I like that quote. Number 5, don't determine the grade based on criteria rather than simply like it. Oh, I like it, it's an A. I hate it, it's a C, okay? Don't tell the students the objectives and teach them to self-assess their art. If you teach them to self-assess their art, you're not going to get those 50 millions. Is this good? Is this good? Is this good? Okay, like I get. Number 4, don't engage the students at all times in the classroom. You have to. You can't be sitting at your desk. Lord knows, as an art teacher, you don't sit at your desk anyway. But you got to be organized. You have to be prepared. You got to plan, or else if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? Okay? Number 3, don't infuse writing or other non-arts disciplines in your classroom. That's pretty much a given. After going through this program, we all had to include those English and math standards. It wasn't hard. It wasn't a big deal. It was okay. Number 2, don't be creative with what you have. Don't moan about equipment and supplies and space. But you have to advocate for more and more and more always. Think big, start small. And number 1, don't help students make valuable connections between school, home, and the world, okay? If you engender a generation of kids who believe that art is important, you know, not only are you doing them a service, you are doing their kids a service, you're doing future art teachers a service, okay? Because our teachers won't have to advocate constantly. Okay. I'm going to stop this tape. That was participant tape number 6, and I'm going to do a PPDP tape. Thanks.